So we have unofficially entered countdown mode for Arc Raiders. And by that, I mean a date was like data mined or something from like one of the Steam updates that was happening to the Arc Raiders client. And from that date, we got like a June 6th date, or it was like a countdown for like 20 days or 15 days. And that led to a June 6th date, which I think is Summer Games Fest / like Xbox Showcase time period. It's at like announcement showcase period, right? Which is leading a lot of people to thinking maybe we're either going to get like a trailer, an announcement, or a shadow drop. Hey, listen, the faster I get on the game, the better for me, you know. Or like you give me an information or a time period where I can expect to get my hands on it in whatever capacity, hey, that's good for me. That's all I ask for, you know what I'm saying? But with the like, I guess the hype train kind of rebuilding for something, I wanted to kind of talk about some things that I would like to see for Arc Raiders. One might call this a wish list, you know. Some of it's grounded, some of it probably will never get put into the game. You never know, a dev might be watching, or a friend of a dev might be watching. I might say something that tickles their brain or something. They're like, yo, you know, that actually might be something to look into, or, you know, we're already kind of doing that. So, you know, these are some things that I got from, you know, playing the game and seeing the game and seeing people talk about it. So let's get to it. Starting off first here, more weapon types and weapon variants. Now, before I say anything, I'm already pretty sure what we got in like the technical playtest wasn't everything that they had to show. But again, this is kind of just something that's kind of like a given for a game of this caliber, bro. Like, it's good to have, like, I think a varied sandbox or arsenal, just because there's a lot of different scenarios that you can get into in Arc Raiders that you wouldn't necessarily like plan for or plan to have. You know, there's close range, there's CQB, there's mid range, there's far, there's very far, like, you know, and there's a lot of different weapons that you can kind of put in between that'll kind of help figure out or you conquer a situation that's better for you, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean like they have to do completely new weapons all the time. You know, there's like different weapons of same weapons, but in like a different archetype can go such a long way, bro. You know, like just from like an auto shotgun to like a pump action to a double barrel. You know, they're all still shotguns, but there are 3 completely different feelers for a shotgun and almost completely different like use cases and like how you handle a CQB or close range engagement, right? Same example for like an SMG, you know, one could be like a high rate of fire, just like a spitter. One could be like a PDW type of scenario where it's like kind of slower, but it's like it got like a little more like recoil control, a little more accuracy, you know. Or there's like a sniper rifle, you know, you got your like big Kakonka 50 caliber, or you got the like, it's almost kind of like a marksman rifle, but it still like packs a heavy punch. You just bow, you know. There's a lot of different varieties and flavors of gun that you can go with, and I kind of hope they do more to mess around with like weapon types and weapon variants in that game. Early game, mid game, late game, it can do a lot to kind of keep people engaged, keep people trying out new stuff, you know, something for that. And then kind of stand on that realm a little bit more. Saw this a little bit as well, but like maybe different pieces of gear or equipment that will like incentivize, if you're like playing in a group of 2 or 3, for like people to really bring or run different items. They like touched on that a little bit, I saw, in like late game items, I would call them. Specifically, I would consider like the defib, or I forget what it's called. I think it's like the Vita spray or something like that, where it's essentially like a chug splash or like a med mist, where it's like, it's not just for you. You can like throw that shit down and it brings like a cloud of smoke and it like heals you and your teammates, you know. I think having gadgets and equipment that can, it's not necessarily like an offensive tactic or like something that helps you defeat players, but maybe something that's just like more utility for like not just you, but like you and your team, you know. But maybe you need like extra space to bring it or something like that, right? Like, let's say for example, you have like you know, like how there's like an ammo box maybe there's like a shield box where like there's like a slot in your inventory where it takes up like 4, and you put down like this big ass like chest essentially, but like it has like 6 or 7 usages of like armor like repair or something like that, and like you and like the other 2 teammates like find like a little corner or something, and y'all can just like kind of siphon it up and like heal up and get your stuff back together. You know, like not everybody has to bring it, but if one person bring it, it's like, yo, we need that, so keep that safe, keep that in your back pocket, because you never know. You know, I think stuff like that is pretty cool because it gives usages for everyone to kind of do something and be important, versus like, hey, you just bring this and I'll bring this and then we'll just do whatever. You know, I think having another layer of like strategy or like tactics is always cool in my opinion. And then this one's a little, I'm not gonna say far-fetched, but it's a little off the beaten path. But I think maybe in Arc Raiders they could do a system where an enhanced like revive system, because I think today in Arc Raiders, if you get knocked and you get like finished, you're like out, you're just like spectator in the sky type of scenario, right? But I think it could be cool if like maybe an event or like an enemy type or like a loot item or like a chest that maybe you had to like do and run, or you had to find, that's like super rare, but it's like, hey, if you did, you could like bring someone like way back from the depths, but it's like really hard to do or like really valuable to have. You know, I think that could be pretty cool. You know, like you're definitely not doing it every game, but it's like, hey, if this is like a run where we really need to get shit done, hey, just bring it in just in case, you know, just in case someone like gets totally wiped, I can bring you back once, and then like we can go from there. I think that'd be pretty interesting as well. And then a little bit outside of that, I think dynamic world events, they really should lean into that as much as they can. And I know they kind of do a little bit with like the night op stuff and like the queen or like harvester events, and like I think there was one on Spaceport where it was like the vegetation was like super high and you could like have a higher chance of finding like fruits and stuff like that. One for one, that's kind of like a menu thing, so like you can go to Spaceport, but you can also go to the night version of Spaceport if it's available, right? So it's not like a necessarily dynamic event, but it'd be really cool if you go into one and not even player initiated, maybe it's just world initiated, you know, like, hey, there's like a rocket or something like that, or like there's like a bastion or something that like just went like supernova or some shit, and now it has like a bunch of loot that you can grab or something like that, you know, like something that like makes the world feel like a little more alive outside of like, oh, there's a player there, oh, there's a robot there, cool, or hey, we're going in because we need to kill the queen or we need to go to the harvester. Like having something to kind of just like pop up that's like, whoa, we should, okay, fuck what we was doing, let's go do that, you know, like you didn't expect it to be there, but now it's coming. I love stuff like that because you have so many ways to make it like interesting, bro, and like incentivize not only people to be more engaged in like what's actually happened, but also kind of give that, like, you know, when you're playing like a Skyrim or like a Fallout where it's like, hey, I have a quest marker that's sending me over here, but something happened this way that I was not expecting, so now I'm going to disregard this for a little bit and I'm going over here. I think that could be so cool in a setting for Arc Raiders, bro. And then also kind of comboing on top of that a little bit, changing weather, dynamic weather, I think would be a really cool equivalent to that as well. Again, I know they have like the night raid option. Even again, a simple like day night switch does so much to change the atmosphere of the game. But I think it'd be so cool if like maybe they could treat it like how they treat like the night raid maps, or maybe they have like just a setting or something in the game where like you load in, because sometimes you'll load in and it's like raining and stuff like that, and it's like overcast and things like that. There's like obviously weather changes, but it'd be cool if they had stuff where it's like, yo, it's like, yeah, like thunderstorm, like zero visibility thunderstorm, fog, haze, super sandstorm, you can't really see, like, bro, I think that would do so much to add to like the intensity and the like storytelling and like world dynamic of the game. Like imagine if you're on like damn, what's that map called? Imagine if you're on Dead City, but it's like Dead City Sandstorm. And I know they kind of have that like a little bit, but it's like big ass, like you can't see like 6 feet in front of you, right? And then you hear the fucking like Bastion, but you can't see that motherfucker because of the sandstorm. And then out of nowhere, you see that motherfucker start spinning up. You're like, bro, come on. I think that'd be so cool, bro. Very, very cool. And then coming off of that, something that I really, really, really hope that they do. This seems pretty realistic for me, but you just don't know. I really hope they do something to either like expand the base that you can have or like the hub that you are kind of in. Just because like at least in the tech test, it was like, hey, you got this workshop. This is where you go to do X, Y, and Z. The like progress for that is like get all the workbenches and then upgrade them. Cool. Well, like, is there anything else we'll be able to do, or is it like once I hit a level 3 weapons bench, I'm just cooked? That's it. I'm not worried about anything else when it comes to my workshop. I really hope it's not a scenario like that. Like, I feel like the workshop could be easily like a 3rd or 4th part of the game that's like pretty major, you know? Like there should be more stuff for you to constantly do or work towards or upgrade. Like, I'm not saying everyone's going to immediately burn through, like, because I think there's like 6 or like 8 like benches that you can put in and you can upgrade, I think, all those to level 3, which do take time. But you know, there's motherfuckers that's gonna blow through that immediately, and there's gonna be people who pretty much get through it in like a good amount of time. And then again, like after they're done, there's just nothing else to do for your workshop outside of like build stuff and crafting like management. I think it'd be a pretty waste of potential just to like have that be like the end all be all of the like of your base or like your hub, right? And then kind of coming off of that, but it leads you into a bigger portion. I hope they really have some good cosmetic variety in this game. Now it's Embark, so I have high expectations, especially after coming off the finals, where like the customization in that game is easily one of the best that I've seen in like this generation of gaming. Easily, right? I hope they bring that same level of customization to Arc Raiders. And then like, again, I think they do at least in the finals, they did a really good job of like having super grounded, super like in reality cosmetics, and also like super wacky, super like out there cosmetics as well, because we are talking about like a sci-fi universe, so they do have the space for that. But again, I just really hope there's a lot of like variety in that, you know, character skins, weapon skins, workshop skins, you know, maybe I can modify Scrappy, you know, have Scrappy get like a little bow tie or some shit. I don't know, you know, like I kind of expect a lot from Embark on like the customization front, just because again, the finals is just so good with theirs, and I would hate for them to see them to like take like a step back in customization for whatever reason in this game too. And then speaking on variety, I wanted to talk about the enemy faction. There is a lot of Arc in the game right now, a lot of like different robots. You know, you got the roller, you got the thrower, you got the pop, you got the bastion, you got the bison, you got the rocketeer. I hate that motherfucker. You got the wasp, the hornet, the queen, right? But I really hope, again, that isn't like the end all be all, which I don't think it will be, especially if this game's gonna have like long legs. But I know like a big part of this like game originally was like PvE stuff, and I really hope it's not just like bigger and badder bosses, like, because that's like not always attainable for everybody, right? Even if it's just like a different variant of the pop, where it's like, hey, instead of shooting a flamethrower, it's like ice or like electricity or something. It has like a different status effect on you or something like that, you know, like something like that easily already kind of changes the dynamic of like how you handle and how you identify something. Now I don't know if they want to go like a confusing route or something like that, where it's like they don't want to have too many like things for a player to worry about, because like, yeah, it is nice where it's like, hey, I know that that's a bastion over there, right? But it would be interesting as fuck as like, now is that the minigun bastion or is that the flamethrower bastion? That's two totally different types of enemies right there. Like totally different runner from a minigun versus a flamethrower, even though they'll both pretty much delete you. It's like, which one am I dealing with? You know, I think having a good variety of enemies, even if it's like, hey, it's the same enemy but they do something slightly different, hey, I think that could go a long way, bro. It's something I think a lot of game companies sort of mess up or I guess overlook. I feel like a lot of times they like try to go for these overarching changes or like these overarching features, where it's like, bro, sometimes you don't even need all that. Just a little tweak, a little like perspective shift, a little difference in how something is done can go a long way. Not saying you got to do that, not saying you can do that for everything and get away with it, but it's like sometimes you don't need a whole new enemy. You just need like a pop that's red and it like shoots rockets. You know, that a little roller motherfucker that's shooting rockets. Whoa, that's totally different now. What's happening? We're totally different. And then this is something I brought up in one of my other videos where I was talking about like what I would want to see in the future, but I really hope if Arc Raiders goes like the seasonal route or like the wipe route, where it's like a pretty much like a segmented amount of time to play to do something. I really hope within that time we have like good narrative and world progression, bro. Like I really don't want the game to get stale on that front, just because I'm so interested in like what's happening in the like Arc Raiders universe as a whole. So I really want them to like, even if it's not like right out the gate like a super crazy, super strong story, I really want them to have a good foundation and a good sort of cadence and stepping stone of like, this is what's happening in the world of Arc Raiders right now, you know, instead of like just pretty much having you worry about like the meta game of looting and crafting and stuff like that. I really want to know what's going on with the story. Very interested. So I hope player retention, play session time they go with, I hope they have like a good narrative overarching that as well. And then lastly here, these are kind of just like some things that I would kind of expect, but again, I'm putting it on here just because all studios aren't the same and don't operate the same. So first and foremost, dev communication. I really hope we get like regular updates or roadmaps or kind of just like regular communication with the development team and kind of what's going on. Now, I'm not saying they got to spill all the beans or anything like that anytime they tweet or something like that, but there's a lot of companies out here, a lot of developers and stuff. I'm like looking at like Infinity Ward and sometimes like 343 or Halo Studio, shit like that, where it's like, yo, sometimes you just feel like you're talking to a fucking brick wall, and then X amount of time goes by and they're like, hey, remember us? Have this. And then it's like, all right, see you later. And it's like, what about like the shit we was talking about like 3-6 months? Like, you know, it gives a lot of clarity for players, community, people to kind of just have a sense of what's going on. I'm telling you, you don't got to tell us everything, but like, you know, give us something. And they do a pretty good job again on the finals of like, they have like dev streams and they have like a lot of tweets that go out giving people updates on what's happening. So again, I kind of expect them to be the same way with this game, but sometimes shit just don't translate, bro. So I don't know, but I wanted to put that there just in case. All right, and then lastly here, I'm kind of stealing this one from like the Minecraft community, but I think it'd be pretty cool because you don't really see this like at all. But like community voting, I think could be a very, very cool aspect of a game like this, right? And again, it kind of bleeds back into a lot of the other things that I was talking about, right? Like, what if, say, they had like a live stream for like an upcoming system for Arc Raiders, and it was like, hey, for the next event, would you want a sandstorm event? Would you want a whiteout event like fog or haze, or would you want like an acid storm event or something like that, you know, something crazy? And then like they let the community vote on it, and then whoever got like the most votes, that was like the next thing that they like put in the game for the update. Or like, hey, we have these skins that we're going to release in a certain order, but which one would you like to see first? And then they like give us like an option of 3, and it's like, yo, give us that one. Like, yo, bro, I think that'd be so cool. It would probably get a little toxic in some scenarios because, you know, people are just like that, but I think it, as an overall sort of thing, it'd be cool as fuck to see like again, like some like community agency over like what we sort of get in the short term of things. I think that'd be pretty fire. So that's my Arc Raiders wish list. Again, some of these I could see happening, some of these not so much, but again, you never know. I don't know who I'm really talking to out here when I make these videos, but you never know. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about my wish list and what are some of the things that you would like to see from ARC Raiders in the future as well. And if you want to see more videos like this from the boy, be sure to hit that big subscribe button down below. And I catch y'all in the Rust Belt.